Hi guys, Callum here from Helm WMS, and today I'm at Cloud9 Fulfilment with Josh, taking a look around their warehouse. Let's go take a look. Start of a warehouse, I always think goods in. For me, it's the biggest and most important part of any warehouse because it completely controls everything else. I know you agree.
100%.
So talk me through goods in at Cloud9 and how it works.
Okay. Well, if you mess up your goods in, you're starting on a losing team, aren't you? You've got to get it right from the get-go. So the goods arrive, we offload them, obviously, come into the warehouse, and the first thing we need to do is check that what we've received is what was expected. So using the Helm system, we'll log on to Helm. And we'll open the PO and we'll start scanning the stock in using the barcodes. So every item that's there on the PO is accounted for. Obviously, if there's an issue, we'll raise it at that juncture. So we'll let the customer know you've got more stock than you expected, or there's a SKU missing, and we actually resolve the issue there and then, rather than putting the stock away into the warehouse, start dispatching. And if you do that without doing the stock integrity bit first, 6 months down the line, 3 months down the line, you've got a big problem.
Yeah. So I said, I talk to so many brands, and goods in is one of those areas that brands either get really, really well, or they actually are completely messing up. And I was saying to you before, I was chatting to one brand that was struggling to use the POs and wasn't using POs and refusing to because they couldn't do partial POs. So how do you handle partial POs? So if stock comes into your warehouse, but not all of that stock, how do you handle that in Helm?
Yeah, great question. So we would process the PO as normal. So we start allocating the stock to the PO using the barcode scanner, and the PO just remains on the system with some open items still there to be received, which is great. We can see what has been received and what has not yet been received. And when the stock finally arrives later down the line, we can finish that PO.
And what about with regards to if you receive stock when you're not expecting it? Because you were telling me a story, right?
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
Okay, yeah. So, we often receive stock, perhaps the customers forgot to let us know or forgot to put a PO on the system. So we often receive stock without prior warning, and that's fairly common in the 3PL business, but usually you can track down which customer it belongs to. On this one particular occasion, we actually had a customer who'd not yet signed up with us fully. We'd given them a quote, but they'd not yet signed the account forms. They sent us stock without any warning, any agreement in place. So we had this container of stock arrive, we unloaded it, tried to work out what it was. No one could work out what customer it was for. Only upon speaking with the sales agent did we work out that actually one of his prospects had decided to go ahead and send us the stock. So,
hey, it's a good way of finding out you've won some business.
Yeah,
right?
That's right.
Maybe not expecting. Okay, and how do you handle that in the system? So you do get stock, you're not expecting it. What do you ensure that you do when that stock arrives? Yeah,
so the first thing to do is communicate to the customer, we've had an unexpected delivery. Obviously they should have put a PO on the system, so we're expecting it. So that would be the first thing we'd point them to do, is to add the PO. If they're not contactable for any reason, obviously our staff can add the PO on their behalf. But as our general process is to let the customer add the PO, we try not to deviate from that wherever possible.
Okay, and from my perspective, one of the biggest things for coming into when the stock's coming in that's not in my system is ensuring that my weights and my measurements are correct.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you guys are the same.
100%, yeah. So when any new SKU type or item type arrives, getting those details in and the HS code as well along with it are critical to making sure we don't have problems further down the line. So it's all about, like you said, Callum, lining things up at the start.
Why is that so important, do you think, for brands?
To get the weights and the dimension.
Getting everything in place.
Well, it's attention to detail is critical in all areas, but when you're talking about shipping and you're talking about international shipping in particular, having all of that set up correct is going to ensure that your billing is correct, that you're sending the right type of parcel, that it doesn't come back, customs don't reject it. So there's lots of reasons why you need to get that right. And usually if you don't get that right, you'll only find out it's not right when something comes back to you, and then you've got a bigger problem because you've got an unhappy customer. So.
Perfect. Okay, amazing. So we've got all our items, they're all here, they've all been checked, you're happy with them. What's the next step? What do you do with them?
Okay, well usually if it's a SKU that we've already had within the warehouse, it's got a home, it's got a location it's going into, we transfer that stock from the goods in area across to the bulk storage. If we're completely out of that SKU, then we may need to replenish the pick face as well, which obviously we would do before putting it away. But it's all about taking that stock which you've allocated, as a picking in section and moving it using the system, using Helm onto the shelves, so it all lives in its specific location. You know exactly how much of each item you've got and exactly where it is.
And I think that's it, isn't it? It's about using the system to prompt you on that. You're not having to try and figure out what stock needs to go where. The system's going to tell you, right, put that into bulk, or put that into my pickable locations,
exactly
right?
that, yeah.
And I think that's interesting. One of the things you'll see in the warehouse here is you've absolutely split that up, you all right?
Yeah.
You've got your bulk storage in one area, you've got your picking in the other area, and that makes it very easy from that separation for your staff to understand what actually it lives where.
Yeah, exactly that, yeah. And it's also convenient as well because the forklift is mainly moving around in the bulk area, and obviously we've got staff picking in the pick area. We don't really want the two crossing paths as little as possible.
Amazing, perfect. All right, should we go have a look around the rest of the warehouse then?
Yeah, sure.
Perfect. So we've moved away from our goods in and our bulk storage, and now everything here is in a pickable location, okay?
Exactly that, yeah.
Perfect.
Exactly.
So I guess there's two parts to that, isn't it? If it's pickable, it means that it's sellable.
Yep.
Yep. I'm assuming your bulk storage is also sellable.
Bulk storage is also sellable, yeah.
Fantastic. Do you have anything that you keep away for brands that isn't sellable,
Typically, no. Most brands want all stock to be available at all times, which makes sense. Yeah, but I mean, you know, we could have the occasion where a brand's doing a show or an event and they want us to put aside a certain amount of stock, and we'll then book that into a location that's not a pickable location that will allow the brand to take that stock at their leisure. Also, we might have different batches of stock. There might be a batch that the customer has a problem with and they want us to withhold that. So on that occasion, we make it not pickable as well.
Again, fantastic feature with the system. You're able to use the locations within the system and the areas within the system to put them into non-pickable, pickable. You can have them to whatever you want. You can have returns as a location, but you're able to manipulate the system to match your workflows, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. Okay, so talk to me about the way you set up your warehouse then here, because I can see you've got different styles of shelving for different items.
Yep.
I think is this the Palex stuff, which I absolutely love.
This is, yeah, it's really cool, to be fair. I mean, it's all about the type of customers and the type of products that you're stocking, you know. I mean, if we look here, these are all some really nice quality supplements that one of our customers stocks. Look great in the bottles, and we need like a small, efficient way of storing these. So it's important that you're not wasting too much height above any of the products. You know, we really want to maximise that efficiency. And Helm actually is really flexible. It allows us to set up in whatever way we want, you know, whether it's cubby holes, shelf locations, pallet locations, doesn't really matter. The system offers it all, and having that flexibility suits our customers as well because they want to be efficient just as we do.
And do you keep your stock in all in one location? Will you have multiple stocks in the same location? Because again, one of the things with Helm is you can nest your stock in multiple locations, right? So how do you work with that?
Yeah, certainly. Often we have stock at the same type of SKU in different locations, and it could be that it's coming in different batches, could be a different expiry date on it. It simply might be how the warehouse is set up when we receive more stock. You know, there might not be enough space for that SKU with the other part of that SKU, so we would then choose other locations. And again, it's that flexibility that Helm affords us, which is really key to our business, because we're not having to rely on physically keeping the stock together to make sure it's accurate and accounted for. You know, we can put it elsewhere in the warehouse and just trust in the system that the system knows exactly where that's gone.
Fantastic. Okay, so talk to me about the different picking methodologies that you use for something like this. So when you're picking items that are small like this, what would you normally do? Would you go down a tote pick? Would you go down a batch pick? Would you go for a container? What would your normally workflow be?
It depends on the volume of orders that are going for that particular SKU. You know, we have some particular SKUs that, you know, we do several hundred items a day of one SKU, so, and they tend to be single item orders as well. So in that regard, we would always do a batch pick because it's really efficient to go and get those items in one batch and get those labels printed and them shipped out in one go. But for a mixed picking scenario where we're doing lots of different orders with lots of different combinations of SKUs, we like working with container picks. It allows us to ensure that the accuracy is really high, but also that the efficiency and the speed works well. And as the pickers are working through the warehouse, you know, Helm and DC will make sure that we pick in the correct order so it's efficient. We're not walking backwards and forwards, you know, wasting time. It tends to be work in a cycle.
So we're doing container picking here, and what you're doing is actually doing 8 container picks all in one.
Exactly that.
So talk me through this container picking then. So Edna, you're picking an order right now, So you've got the mobile app. So the mobile app can be done on Android devices and iOS devices now. And you can also do that either on a phone, or as I said, you can have it on a Zebra device or any other device. So so talk me through it then.
So basically the scan will come up on the pick will come up on the scanner.
Yep.
It will tell us the location. So we've got our location set up by aisle,
Yep.
then by location, height and bin number. It will tell us where to scan, and Edna will actually scan the location itself and then the item, which affirms it's the correct item.
I think this is interesting because what actually happens is if you scan the wrong location, it will tell you that you're in the wrong location and to go to the correct location.
Exactly that, yeah.
So it first points you into the right location, and then, as I said, you won't be able to scan that item in if it's not the correct item. So you've scanned that item in, yeah? Perfect.
Now we would scan the bin it's going to go into, or the container. So we'll get a scan, and that item is now registered to that container. It sits within that container. If there's another item in that order, Edna would repeat the process to get that item.
Lovely. And then can I just confirm, you've now got another scan on the bin, so this is telling you to pick up the next item from the next area?
Yeah.
Okay, so then you're moving on to GO1D5, which is not an easy one to get out.
There we go. Again, Edna will scan just to verify it's the correct item. And again, that's critical to the process. You know, we talked about paper picking earlier, and I think that's where you could really fall down if you're using a paper-based system. System like Helm really locks everything in for you, so ensures that you can't make that mistake. So.
Yeah, and I mean, the fantastic thing about the platform as well is there's a two-step verification, right? Like, you can't really make any mistakes here, but even if you did, when you get to the packing terminal, again, you have to verify at the terminal, because the terminal is going to prompt you for the container on what the actual orders are against that. So there are two almost verification steps before it can go out. So your actual risk of any orders going out wrong is really, really minimal unless somebody is doing it on purpose.
It's something we always use in our sales processes. That's two-step verification as well, because it reassures the customer that, you know, even if a mistake happens, a very small percentage chance it does, you've got that second verification to remove any chance of error. So yeah, we don't tend to make errors in our picks.
Fantastic, cool. Josh, we're at the packing terminal now.
We are.
So you've got your container, Edna's picked it, popped it on there. Now what is she going to be doing?
First thing that Edna will do is she'll scan the packing container again, and that will show the system exactly which container it is that we're dealing with. She'll take one of the items from the container, scan the barcode on that item, and again, that's the double validation that we're seeking to make sure everything's correct. That will then generate the order on the system. It will bring up the correct order information with address, etc. Edna will finish packing the item. As you can see here, it's a very nice book that Edna's packing. And on hitting enter, it will book the shipment, and the label will be generated by the system. So all automated, all smooth, process done.
Nice, fantastic. And just so I understand, you've got multi and single tote. So in here, what you've done is you've got single item container. You've also will use container picking for multi items as well. And in that instance, the system will prompt you to get the next item and the next item.
Exactly that. So when you scan the first item on a multi-item pick, the system will then prompt you with exactly what the next item is that you need to scan. You scan that, and away you go.
Fantastic, great. All right. I think that is everything, Josh. So thank you for having us at Cloud9.
Pleasure.
Keep in touch. We'll be telling you more about some AI developments that are happening with Helm very, very soon, which hopefully you'll be excited about.
I look forward to it.
We'll go from there.
Yeah, thanks,
Cheers.
Callum.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, bud.